General Hospital spoilers keep circling around this one stubborn question about Nathan, and honestly, it refuses to go away. Every time I think the story has squeezed out all the shock it can from his supposed death, something else pops up. A grave disturbed, a memory missing, a line of dialogue that feels too deliberate to be random. And I sit there thinking, wait, we are not done with this man. Not even close. First of all, why is Nathan alive? That is the part that keeps scratching at my brain. People do not just crawl out of graves in Port Charles without someone pulling strings. This is not a fairy tale resurrection. It has planning written all over it. Calculation, cold hands moving pieces behind the curtain. Someone dug up his coffin. Someone risked being seen. Someone had equipment ready, medical knowledge, resources. That is not a spontaneous act of love. That is strategy. And the idea that he was injected with something to fake his death, that actually makes disturbing sense. We have seen stranger things in General Hospital. People frozen, cloned, presumed dead, only to return with a different accent or a different personality. A drug that slows the heart, stops visible signs of life, creates a perfect medical illusion. It would not even be the first time science was twisted for power in this universe. So yes, I can absolutely picture Nathan being injected with a compound designed to mimic death. His pulse barely there, his breathing undetectable, doctors shaking their heads, everyone crying, and the person who did it standing somewhere quiet, watching. Then later, under the cover of darkness, the grave is open, dirt moved carefully, a body removed and transported somewhere secure, somewhere hidden, a private facility, maybe underground, maybe overseas. And that is when the real work begins. Not just saving him, changing him. Because here is the thing that unsettles me. When Nathan woke up, he did not fight. He did not demand answers. He did not tear the place apart trying to get back to Maxie or to his old life. That silence, that lack of resistance, it feels wrong. If he had simply been rescued from death, he would have panicked. He would have been desperate. Instead, we are told he did not resist, which makes me think something was done to him. Something invasive. Brainwashing. It sounds dramatic, I know. But in this world, it is practically routine. A massive surgery, neurological tampering, memory suppression. If the procedure was successful, then the Nathan we see now is not really Nathan. He could be programmed, conditioned, his loyalty rewritten like bad code. That is terrifying in a quiet way. The idea that a man's love, his identity, his instincts could be erased and replaced, that is darker than death. But there is another angle. What if the brainwashing did not go as planned? What if it took longer than expected? 7 years is not a random number. 7 years of absence. 7 years where he was supposedly gone. Maybe he was not fully conscious during that time. Maybe he was in a medically induced coma while scientists, or whoever they are, tried to reshape his mind, and something failed, or stalled, or went wrong in a way they did not anticipate. The thought that he woke up suddenly, confused, disoriented, with no memory of those years, that actually feels more human. He tells Anna he remembers nothing. He describes it like sleep. Just a long sleep. 7 years disappearing in what feels like a blink. That detail hits me, because that is how trauma sometimes feels. You close your eyes and when you open them, the world has shifted and you have no idea how. If the brainwashing failed, that means someone invested years into controlling him and ended up losing him. That would make Nathan not just a victim but a liability, which raises the stakes even higher. Because whoever did this would not just shrug and move on. They would want him back, or eliminated. Now about Cullum. Some fans immediately jump to him, assuming he must be behind it. I am not convinced. If Cullum had orchestrated this, he would have activated Nathan already. He would have used him as an asset. There is no reason to wait 7 years unless something went off schedule. Cullum does not strike me as the patient type when it comes to power plays. He moves fast, he exploits advantages, so if he had Nathan under his control, we would have seen the payoff by now. That is why my suspicion drifts toward the Cassadines. It almost always does, and I am not even sorry about that. The name alone carries history of mind control, weather machines, secret compounds, underground labs. If you are looking for someone capable of staging a death and rewriting a brain, you start there. Specifically, I keep coming back to Victor. Victor Cassadine has always been several steps ahead of everyone. Even when he appeared cornered, he had contingency plans layered beneath contingency plans. Fans remember how often his predictions turned out right. He played the long game, and then There was that supposed death after the drone attack by the WSB. Supposed being the key word. In General Hospital, death is flexible, especially for a Cassadine. We have seen this pattern too many times. A dramatic exit, an explosion, a body that is not quite confirmed. And then years later a door opens and there they are, colder than before. So the possibility that Victor faked his death too, hiding somewhere remote, waiting, it does not feel far-fetched. It feels almost expected. Imagine this scenario. Victor orchestrated Nathan's fake death long before anyone suspected. He had him injected, buried, retrieved. He funded the medical team. He supervised the psychological reprogramming. And then, for reasons unknown, he decided not to activate him immediately. Maybe Nathan was meant to be a sleeper agent, a weapon stored away until the right political moment, until the right family conflict, until Victor's grand return. There is something chilling about the idea of a man walking around thinking he is free, not knowing that a trigger phrase or a specific signal could flip a switch inside him. That is classic Cassadine territory. Subtle, theatrical, cruel. But here's the part that keeps bothering me. If Victor is alive, where is he hiding? He cannot just be lounging in Port Charles. He would have been spotted. My mind goes to some remote island, some forgotten estate in Eastern Europe, a place with loyal staff who ask no questions. He could be monitoring everything from afar, watching Anna, watching the WSB, waiting for the right chaos to erupt. And what if Nathan's sudden return is not accidental? What if Victor allowed him to surface, let him reunite, let him speak about lost years? It could be part of a larger psychological experiment, testing how stable the programming is, seeing whether emotional bonds override conditioning. That would be so twisted and yet so on brand. Still, I cannot fully dismiss the alternative, that Victor is truly dead and someone else in the Cassadine family picked up his research. The Cassadines are not short on ambition. There is always another cousin, another heir, another hidden sibling. The legacy of manipulation does not vanish with one man. What I find most compelling is Nathan's own confusion. His insistence that he does not remember. If he were fully brainwashed, he might not even realize he is missing memories. The fact that he acknowledges the gap suggests either incomplete programming or genuine amnesia. And that difference matters, because one can be healed, the other can be triggered. I will admit something. Part of me hopes the brainwashing failed, because I want Nathan to still be Nathan. I want the emotional core to remain intact. But the darker part of me, the part that watches General Hospital for the chaos, almost wants the sleeper agent angle. The drama would be explosive. Imagine him turning unexpectedly. Imagine the heartbreak. And yet, this is not just about shock value. It is about intention. Someone went to extraordinary lengths to control a man's life. That level of effort suggests a purpose bigger than revenge. Bigger than petty power. It feels strategic, global even. WSB involvement hints at international stakes. And if Victor is somewhere out there breathing, planning, then Nathan could be a key piece in a future endgame we have not even glimpsed yet. So who is behind it? My money is still on a Cassadine, with Victor at the top of the suspect list. The fake death, the advanced science, the patience required to wait 7 years. It all lines too neatly with his style. Cullen feels like a distraction, a loud threat to keep us looking the wrong way. At the same time, I keep circling back to one quiet detail. Nathan describing those 7 years as sleep. Not pain, not captivity. Sleep. That word lingers. Because if he truly felt nothing, if he was suspended in some artificial coma, then his body and mind were preserved like an object, not a person. And that is horrifying in a different way. There are so many moving parts. The grave, the injection, the surgery, the missing time, the possible failure, the potential trigger. And somewhere in all of this, a mastermind who believed they could outsmart everyone forever. Maybe the biggest twist would be that Nathan ultimately breaks free on his own. No trigger, no control, just sheer willpower undoing years of manipulation. That would be satisfying. Messy, but satisfying. Until then, the mystery hangs there, unresolved, slightly off balance. And every time General Hospital drops another hint, I find myself back at the same question. Who dug him up? Who thought they had the right to rewrite him? And where is that person now, watching from the shadows, waiting for the moment to step back into the light?